Hello, my dear students. Welcome back. In today's session, and from this session onwards, I'm going to start the 12th class syllabus. First, I'm going to discuss the difficult topics in the 12th class and which have more weightage for NEET exam. And then I will deal with the other topics also. So, follow my videos regularly. I'll try to complete the 12th class syllabus. So, a part of that, we are now starting with the second chapter in 12th class, that is sexual reproduction in flowering plants. Before I go into the topic, though if those who are watching for the first time my videos, please share and subscribe my channel so that you will get all the notifications. Don't forget to press the bell symbol given, and so that you will get the notifications earlier, and share to maximum extent to all your friends. And my only intention is to help all of you as much as possible. And if you have anything to suggest, I always welcome. So please, same thing you can write in my comment box. I'll be referring to it. So please share and subscribe my channel. So now let us come into the topic, sexual reproduction in flowering plants. So this is a very big chapter. I'm going to discuss part by part. I will split into many videos so that it will be easy for you to understand. And when you are going through the video, you should always go through it from the beginning to the end to get the maximum benefit of that particular topic, and keep noting down all the points so that later you can refer to it and read it. So my dear children, let us start with the topic, sexual reproduction in flowering plants. In this session, I'll be discussing about the introduction about the flower and few other very important points. So let us start with, flowers are produced by all angiosperms and gymnosperms, which are together called as phanerogams. The term phanerogam is used for flowering plants. Flowering plants will include both angiosperms and gymnosperms. Here briefly I am going to tell you about what is the difference in the flowers of angiosperms and gymnosperms. And this a brief comparison I am going to give you separately. Suppose first if we take the flowers in case of first let us say in case of gymnosperms. In gymnosperms, the flowers are called as cones or strobili. So here we find on this cones or strobili, they are formed by many sporophylls. They contain many sporophylls. What are sporophylls? We are going to discuss later. So they contain many sporophylls. All sporophylls together, they form a cone. And this cone is referred to as flower in case of gymnosperms. So what is lacking is here perianth is absent. Perianth is absent in the flowers of gymnosperms. Perianth is calyx and corolla together. Calyx and corolla together. Both together we refer to it as perianth. That means non-essential organs. Calyx and corolla are also called as non-essential organs. So non-essential organs are absent. That is the main feature in case of gymnosperms. Suppose we take in case of angiosperms. In case of angiosperms, flowers are complete. Flowers are complete. They have both essential as well as non-essential organs. That is, they contain all the 4 floral parts. They have calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. So all the 4 floral parts are present. So here flowers are complete. They have both essential as well as non-essential organs. So here we mainly refer to, in this chapter, we refer to the angiosperm. So all the details about reproduction in angiosperms, starting with the structure of the flower and then the other details. So now let us go into the other details of the topic. So flowers can be defined as they are the organs of sexual reproduction. Cultivation of ornamental flowering plants is called floriculture, and study of flowers is called as anthology. Study of flowers is called as anthology. Now, before we go into the other parts, all of you know the different parts of the flower. A flower has a stalk. A flower has a stalk which is called as pedicel. Parts of flower. Parts of flower. A flower has a stalk which is called as pedicel. Pedicel. And the swollen tip of pedicel. Swollen tip of pedicel. Swollen tip of pedicel, that is called as a thalamus. Thalamus, or it is also called as thalamus, or it is also called as receptacle. And this thalamus or receptacle consists of all the four floral parts like calyx, corolla, androecium and gynoecium. We divide calyx and corolla as non-essential organs and androecium and gynoecium as essential organs. So now let us see the other features of flower. Flower as a modified shoot. We can consider flower as a modified shoot. So a shoot or a stem should have nodes and internodes. That is the main important feature of a stem. So according to the scientist Goethe, flower is a modified shoot. Flower consists of pedicel, that is stalk of the flower. Swollen tip of pedicel is called as a thalamus. Thalamus consists of 4 nodes represented by 4 floral leaves. First node is called as calyx, or it consists of sepals. Second node is called as corolla, which consists of petals. Third node is called as androecium, consisting of stamens. And fourth node forms the gynoecium, that is, it consists of many carpels. So since there are nodes present on thalamus, we can compare it to that of the stem. Now, calyx and corolla, if we observe carefully, first if we observe sepals, they look similar to leaves. These are green in color. They look similar to leaves. These are green in color. So we can compare it to that of the leaves. Now, corolla, which is petals we find some, though they are non-green, we find some type of venation is present. Just like in leaves, we find reticulate and parallel venation. Some kind of venation. We cannot define it as reticulate or parallel, but we find some arrangement of veins. So we can say sepals and petals, they are actually evolved from leaves. Similarly with the stamens. Stamens also are found to be evolved from leaves and carpels. So all these 4 floral parts, they are evolved from leaves. So, and thalamus has nodes and internodes. Because of this, we can say a flower is a modified shoot. Now let us see the other points. We just discussed that the flower has 4 nodes. That means it should have 3 internodes. But we normally don't find the internodes. Internodes are highly reduced. They are very close. Nodes are very close. Internodes are highly reduced. That's why it gives the shape of the flower. But we find in very few plants, we find internodes. Internodes can be easily observed in plants. Normally we can't observe any internode on the thalamus. But in very few plants, we find internodes can be observed. So let us see what are those exceptions where internodes can be observed. And they are given different names also. There should be 3 internodes because there are 4 nodes. There should be 3 internodes. So let us see what are the internodes. So first internode is called as anthophore. First internode should be present between calyx and corolla. I have shown it here diagrammatically. So first internode should be present between calyx and corolla. This part is calyx and this is called as a corolla. So first internode, which is called anthophore, it is present between calyx and corolla. This appears like a stalk-like structure. So it is a stalk-like structure present between calyx and corolla. Like for example, in case of dianthus. Dianthus is commonly called as carnation flower. Carnation flowers. They are used for flower decorations and in bouquets and preparing of bouquets also these are used. That is the first internode. Now the second internode. Second internode is called as androphore. So this is present between corolla and androecium. So this is what I have shown here diagrammatically. You will find between corolla and androecium. This stalk-like structure, it is called as androphore. Like for example, in case of passiflora. Passiflora is commonly called as passion flower. It has a very, very beautiful flower. Easily we can identify the androphore. So androphore is the stalk present between corolla and androecium. Now the third internode. The third internode is called as a gynophore. Gynophore is the stalk-like structure present between androecium and gynoecium. So here you can observe in the diagram, you can find this stalk gynophore between stamens, that is androecium and gynoecium. So that means gynophore bears gynoecium at its tip. Phore means a stalk-like structure. Gyno is related to gynoecium. So a stalk-like structure bearing gynoecium at its tip. That is called as a gynophore. That is, gynophore separates all the other three parts of the flower with that of the gynoecium. This is the third internode which is present between androecium and gynoecium. So there are three internodes present. Like here we find the example like in Capparis. Capparis is the example of gynophore. So you have to note down the meanings properly. This is very, very important points, and you have to also draw the diagram. Now let us see another type of stalk which we can find. It is called as a gynandrophore. Gynandrophore is when both androphore, gynophore present in the same flower. Then we call it as gynandrophore. Androphore we just discussed, it is the stalk between calyx and corolla. And gynophore is the stalk between androecium and gynoecium. So when both are present together, this is how we can find in the diagram. This stalk between calyx and corolla and androecium, we call it as androphore. There is another stalk between androecium and gynoecium that is called as a gynophore. At the tip of the gynophore, we find gynoecium. So when both are present, it is called as a gynandrophore. Like for example, in case of Gynandropsis pentaphylla, Cleome gynandra. Gynandropsis pentaphylla, Cleome gynandra. So I am reading it clearly. You should note down the examples also properly. Now, there is another evidence to say that flower is a modified shoot. Another evidence is sepals are modified vegetative leaves. Sepals are also modified vegetative leaves. Just now I mentioned sepals are green in color and show venation. And in one plant called Musanda, one of the sepal enlarges to form an advertising flag for attracting insects. It forms an advertising flag for attracting insects. So because of these reasons, we can say that the flower is a modified shoot. This is very, very important point, children, from any entrance exam point of view, especially for NEET. So go through it and try to learn the examples. Now, next we will see what are monocarpic and polycarpic plants based on flowering. So, based on flowering, I am mentioning here Otherwise, it is given in the previous topic in reproduction. So, since flowering we are dealing here, I will define what is monocarpic and polycarpic with examples. Monocarpic is the flowering and fruiting of plants when take place only once in their whole lifetime, whole lifespan. Such kind of plants, they are called as monocarpic plants. Like for example, annuals and biennial plants. You know what are annuals and biennial plants. Annual means they live only for 1 year or 1 season. Biennials are those which live for 2 years. Now, polycarpic plants. Polycarpic plants are those flowering and fruiting takes place many times in their lifespan. Like for example, perennial plants. Perennial plants are those which live for more than 2 years. So here flowering takes place for many times. Like we have mango, huge trees like fruit trees like mango, or we have many other plants like say tamarind plant, neem plant, so many others. So perennial I'll write down the few examples here. You try to find out their scientific name also. Mango, neem, peepal and tamarind. Mango, neem, peepal and tamarind. These are the polycarpic plants. Now, there are some exceptions to these polycarpic plants. Let us see what are the exceptions. So, like bamboo. Bamboo is a perennial plant, but it flowers only once in its lifetime. That means between 50 to 100 years, it flowers only once. So, though it is a perennial, it is an exception. It is a monocarpic plant, perennial and monocarpic. Similarly, Agave americana, it is a century plant, commonly called as century plant. It is also perennial plant and it flowers once after 10 to 30 years. That means between 10 to 30 years, it flowers only once and then its lifespan completes. Another example, Strobilanthes kunthiana. This flowers once in 12 years. It is present on Nilgiri Hills towards south. On Eastern Ghats on the south, we find in one particular season, all the hills are filled with very beautiful purple colored flowers. So, it flowers once in 12 years. So, these are the examples where though they are perennial, these are monocarpic plants. So, with this, I conclude my video. I completed the introduction part. In my next video, I'll be discussing about the actual topic starting with stamen, microsporangium and the structure of pollen grain in detail. Children, this is a very big topic, so I have to make many videos to make you comfortable watching also, because I can't make too lengthy videos. You will not feel like watching it. So I'll divide it into part by part as comfortable for you and then present it. So I hope you have understood it. So thank you very much, children. We'll meet in my next session. Have a good day.